Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another podcast on MMA Unhinged. And as you can see, we are here to talk about UFC 304. So fantastic. Oscar, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm very excited for this weekend theater today to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Uh, but we're not here to talk about that. I'm equally excited for UFC 304, Edwards versus Muhammad 2. It's going down in Manchester. UFC has not been in Manchester in a very long time, if ever. And they have so much richness on this card in terms of talent from Europe and from the UK. I can't wait to talk about it because this, as you know, this region of the world is booming continuously, and we're going to see a lot of evolution in the game of these guys. And we have two defending champions for the first time ever. So this crowd is going to be electric.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great card, as you mentioned there. We've got some fights to talk about, so let's get straight into it. Obviously, two fights at the top of the card: Tom Aspinall and Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards main events against Belal Muhammad, a rematch of sorts from their first fight where it got stopped due to the eye poke, but now they run it back at UFC 304 in Manchester, where the stakes are bigger because this time around they're fighting for a title. They are fighting for the undisputed UFC Welterweight Championship of the world. Leon Edwards looks to defend his belt once more against Belal Muhammad. But the real question is, does the wrestling of Belal Muhammad cause a threat to Leon Edwards? That's the real question. And I think not. I think Leon Edwards retains his belt. I think he's came up against some fantastic wrestlers. None other than Kamaru Usman. I feel like he should be able to deal with the threats of Belal Muhammad in this fight.
I got a feeling that this fight will not be too dissimilar from the first fight. I know that both guys have improved significantly, but if you look at their styles, their actual styles haven't changed all that much. Belal Muhammad is looking to box on the feet, and he likes to use that pressure to eventually get guys up against the fence and get these takedowns. Leon Edwards has improved so much as a defensive wrestler since that first fight in 2021. He took on Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Both guys have the reputation for being the best wrestlers in the division. And sure, they were able to take down Leon, but they didn't keep him down. Leon Edwards was able to rally back and do significant damage on the feet, enough to win decisions in those fights. And in the second Kamaru Usman fight, he was able to knock him out with the head kick in round 5. That same head kick, it didn't land with the full force, but it did land against Belal Muhammad. So Belal Muhammad has to be wary of that. But still, Belal Muhammad has only been knocked out against Vicente Luque back in 2016. So he showed off his toughness many times. And Leon Edwards, when he fought Colby Covington was not his best self. He had a broken foot, and Leon Edwards was happy to stay on the outside, not really hunt for the finish. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing here, which is why I'm going to take Leon Edwards.
Oscar, I think I lost you there at the end, but yeah, I agree. I've got Leon Edwards as well. It's going to be a tough fight for him, a challenging fight, but I see Leon Edwards using his abilities and just beating Belal Muhammad said whatever it takes on the strike. And obviously we know Leon Edwards has got that advantage massively. But the strike, obviously, the wrestling of Belal Muhammad will pose a threat, I do believe, in the second round. But I do see Leon Edwards just being able to withhold that and being able to get himself back up and get to his feet and use the striking. It's looking good though. This is a fantastic main event. I'm looking forward to it in Manchester. As Oscar mentioned, the first time since UFC 204 or 5 when Mike Bisping retained his belt against Dan Henderson. So yeah, looking forward to it. But yes, I've got Leon Edwards as well. Should be a fantastic one. The crowd are going to be rowdy. It's going to be at 5 a.m. The crowd are going to be a little bit sleepy at 5 a.m. But I feel like they'll get up for it when Leon Edwards wins and gets a huge knockout, I do believe, in the 4th or the 5th round. I think he gets a stoppage victory. Co-main event of the evening, we're possibly looking at another stoppage victory with a name like Tom Aspinall, who loves to get finishes. Is it another one against Curtis Blades, who, if you look at his track record in the past, every loss he gets finished. He's been finished in the past by Francis Ngannou multiple times. We know the chin is not necessarily there for Curtis Blades, but does Tom Aspinall find it and finish the guy from Chicago, Oscar, and also go another guy from Chicago? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm a guy that doesn't pick with my heart often. And I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Curtis Blades or Bilal Muhammad. The fact that they're from Chicago, it is cool, but it's not enough for me to pick them against these extremely dangerous fighters. In my opinion, Edwards and Aspinall are top 5 pound for pound. They're so elite at everything they do. Tom Aspinall is way too powerful for Curtis Blades on the feet. And the speed is going to be such an issue for him. We already saw these guys fight 2 years ago. It was in London. Curtis Blades got the win because Tom Aspinall blew out his knee. So there's nothing you can really take away from that. Curtis Blades, he's going to try to wrestle in this fight. He has to. If he doesn't, it's going to be a big problem on the feet. He fought Sergey Pavlovich. Pavlovich destroyed him on the feet. And Tom Aspinall destroyed Sergey Pavlovich on the feet. So I think Curtis Blades knows what he has to do here. But honestly, I don't think he has the speed to get to Tom Aspinall's legs quick enough without getting caught. And that's just what I see here. Maybe he does get one takedown in this fight, but it's not like he's a guy that usually finishes guys when he's on top. He kind of just establishes position. And in some cases, he will get a finish, but not against Tom Aspinall, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he could have something threatening off of his back anyway. So I expect Tom Aspinall to light up Curtis Blades on the feet, knock him out in round 2, and cement himself as the real heavyweight champion in this division. You heard me. John Jones, I know he's the champion, but he really should have been stripped when he was forced to pull out in the Stipe Miocic fight with that injury. Tom Aspinall, in my opinion, is the best in the world, and he's going to prove it once again.
Absolutely agree. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic co-main event of the evening. I predicted Tom Aspinall finish. I also believe it's going to be in the later rounds, maybe the 3rd or 4th round. I would like to see Tom Aspinall do get some miles, a little bit of clock work in him as well. I feel like obviously he's been knocking these people out in round 1. So it's going to be good. Looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a big test for Tom Aspinall. I want to see him go deep. I want him to see him get tested because I want to see what his championship heart is at for the big fights in the future. We need to see what he can do when tough gets hard. So yeah, looking forward to that one in the co-main event. And next one as well, we do have Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett, in which in itself could be a main event, a co-main event. It is a ridiculous fight. This card from top to bottom is absolutely absurd. An embarrassment of riches for the Manchester fans. It's going to be a good one. So Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. Bobby Green, a veteran. We know what he likes. He likes to throw his hands. He's got that hood style. If you know, you know. He's very powerful on the feet. He's very precise. If Paddy Pimblett is not on his A game, I feel like Bobby Green could really put him away and really finish him. If we see the Paddy Pimblett that we're seeing against Jared Gooden, etc., I feel like this could be a long night for Paddy. Bobby Green, I do believe, is no joke. I feel like he's very, very capable of beating Paddy Pimblett. I think this is a tough fight for Paddy, and that's why I'm on the side of Bobby Green. It's tough for me to say this. I would love to see Paddy Pimblett get it done in spectacular fashion and just show everyone that levels he's on. But I just feel like Bobby Green, it's just what I've seen from Paddy Pimblett in the UFC thus far. I just believe that Bobby Green's just a little bit better.
I have to agree with you 100%. Paddy Pimblett, sure, he had a great run in the UFC. UFC matched him up beautifully. They gave him Tony Ferguson on a 6-fight losing streak. They gave him Luigi Vendramini, Jordan Levitt. Those days are over. They have now given him a ranked fighter in let me correct myself, King Green, who has proven to be very dangerous, has had competitive fights with some of the best guys And I really think that this is a mismatch on the feet. Paddy Pimblett usually can just use his aggression to intimidate these opponents. That's how he won his first fight in the UFC by knocking out Luigi Vendramini, just walking forward and swinging bombs. Bob Green has been hurt before. He's been knocked out before, but I wouldn't consider Paddy Pimblett to be this super dangerous knockout artist like a Drew Dober, like a Dustin Poirier. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Maybe Bobby can, maybe King will get rocked in this fight, but it's not going to matter because he's going to shake it right off and he's going to return fire. Paddy Pimblett is going to try to wrestle in this fight. We've seen Bobby Green show a pretty good takedown defense before. In fact, in his recent fights, the only guy that took him down was Islam Makhachev, who's on a different level than Paddy when it comes to wrestling. So I think Bobby keeps this on the feet. King keeps it on the feet, and he just boxes Paddy's face off. Paddy, sure, he has admitted that his defense is not that good, and I thought he was going to change it. But in the Tony Ferguson fight, the chin was still up in the air. It was still there to be hit, and I didn't expect that to change. I also don't like the fact that we heard that Paddy Pimblett was nearly pulled out by his coaches in this fight week. I don't like to hear that, honestly. And he also talked about how he might have a future in celebrity boxing. So I kind of feel like he's, hedging his bets in a way, like he's saying that maybe I'm not going to be the best in the world in the UFC, so I'll kind of just take the biggest paydays out there. Bobby Green is all about MMA, and he's going to show that he's a significantly better fighter, and he's going to win by decision.
Yeah, I agree. A tough fight for Paddy Pimblett, but I would like to see him get it done. A big performance, a big showcase where he shuts the fans up, like myself, and just kind of states that he's a real fight. He's he's an absolute dog. But as you mentioned there, definitely 2 fights now. It's been absolutely crazy. He's got 2 kids now, so a big distraction in his camp as well. So I feel like he won't be 100% in, and he's been saying that in interviews as well. Having 2 kids, managing it, it's been very tough for him. So I feel like maybe Bobby Green's just going to get the edge this weekend. But the next one as well on the main card is fantastic, 185 pounds. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez. A fan's delight. The matchmaker's done well in this one. Christian Leroy Duncan, a flashy, loves to throw them spinning side kicks, loves to throw them spinning attacks. Gregory Rodriguez, we know what he wants to do. He just wants to walk you down, throw some pressure on, throw some of his bombs. Will Christian Leroy Duncan get to him before Gregory Rodriguez, tires out his man? That's the question. Can Christian Leroy Duncan knock out Robocop? I'm not too sure. This one, I believe it's a tough battle for Gregory Rodriguez. I think Christian Leroy Duncan gets the job done by decision. I feel like we're not going to see I don't think we're going to see a knockout here, but I think Christian Leroy Duncan edges this one. This one's going to be entertaining though. I feel like this could be fight of the night. I think the stars that we have in this matchup could definitely produce a fantastic fight.
I actually believe we will see a knockout here because I like Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. He's a very tough guy, but he's not super durable. Just this past January last year in Brazil, he got knocked out cold by Bruno the Hulk Ferreira. And on Contender Series, he was on Contender Series. He fought this guy, Jordan something, who was actually a welterweight. He knocked him out cold in 2 minutes. So I really can't trust his durability. We've seen him get hurt so many times. We've seen him take so much damage in the octagon. And you need to tell me that he's going to take on Christian Leroy Duncan, who looks better with every fight, who has a speed advantage, who has a reach advantage. And he's showing that he's got that power. I think he's going to counter him perfectly. If I'm Gregory Rodriguez, I need to wrestle. I need to out-grapple this guy. But we often don't see that. There was only a handful of fights where you see him do that. And that was against like lower level competition. Christian Leroy Duncan, I just think is going to be too quick on the feet. The age advantage, I really like picking guys with that kind of discrepancy in age. I think he's a bright star in the UK, and he's going to get a tremendous knockout in front of the Manchester crowd. That's why the UFC put him on the main card. He was originally going to be on the prelims, and they had Kopp and Makayev on the main card. They put him on this main card because they think he's going to make a moment for the fans.
Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely could be a moment for him. I'm going decision though. I feel like Robocop can survive onto the end. A fantastic fight though on the main card. I'm looking forward to that one. But another one that I'm looking forward to on the main card, and that could produce and could be fight night as well. Arnold Allen. You know what he's all about. He loves a scrap, and so does Giga Shikadze. Giga Shikadze. We know what he's all about. He loves to strike. His grappling's getting a little bit better. Obviously off the back of his off the back of the win against Alex Caceres. But before that, his first loss inside the UFC against Calvin Kattar, where he got completely dominated. But he's back to winning ways. He takes on Arnold Allen, who is the meal deal king. He loves the meal deal. He loves talking about him. He's off the back of 2 losses inside the UFC against Max Holloway and Movsar Evloev. A big one for Arnold Allen. He's got to win this one, and it's just the question of does he?
I really think that this is not a great matchup for Giga Chikadze. He had a really good rise in the UFC. Got a win on. He actually lost by submission back in the day on Contender Series, way back. And sure, he had those great wins over Edson Barbosa, over Cub Swanson, but this is now a higher echelon of fighters. When he took on Calvin Kattar, Calvin Kattar's not a wrestler. All Calvin Kattar had to do was wait for Giga Chikadze to slip on the canvas and get on top. And Giga Chikadze was not able to get up after Kattar got on top of him. And then in the following rounds, we saw Giga Chikadze look significantly slower and got completely destroyed on the feet. We've seen Arnold Allen take on Calvin Kattar, and he gave Kattar a lot of problems. I really think that the grappling of Arnold Allen is going to pay dividends here because he has said that he wants to strike with Giga Chikadze, and I got a feeling that it might be a little too close for comfort on the feet against Giga Chikadze. So his coaches are going to tell him that he needs to grapple, and I believe he's going to grapple out there, and that's going to tire Giga Chikadze. And afterwards, he doesn't even need to grapple because Giga will be tired out, and he's going to counter him on the feet. It is a little concerning that Arnold Allen is more of a counter striker. So I got a feeling he's got to be a little more aggressive here if he's going to beat a striker as good as Giga Chikadze. So the fact that Arnold Allen is younger, less battle tested as Giga Chikadze, which usually is a good thing. But when you're 36 and you're fighting at featherweight, it's not a good look. He's not 36 yet. He's about to turn 36 next month. So I don't think he's going to be getting better as we see him more and more. But for Arnold Allen, there's no way this guy loses 3 in a row. He lost his last 2 to Max Holloway and Movsar Evloev. He was very much in those fights. So I think we're going to see the bounce back for Arnold Allen.
Yeah, especially in that Movsar Evloev fight. Arnold Allen in there too with the last round. Really put on a great scrap in that one for the fans. And I feel like he puts on another great scrap for the fans as well this weekend against Giga Chikadze. The main event of the prelims is Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. Looking like I'm pretty sure it's Mohamed Murki versus Menel Cap, but according to Typology anyway, that Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. Nathaniel Wood, love him. Absolutely fantastic fighter, a great human being. Love speaking to him every time I get to talk to him. Obviously fighting that Great Britain top team, but he's coming off that loss against Mohamed Naimov, in which potentially could have went his way. Realistically, could have went his way. Maybe should have went his way that night. He takes on Daniel Pineda, who currently is 5-6 inside the UFC and coming off a loss against Alex Caceres. I've got root for my man Nathaniel Wood. He's got really crisp boxing, especially his kickboxing, his calf kicks, really really good. But yeah, I can't see no other option than rooting for my man Nathaniel Wood. I got to think about my heart and my head here, and someone's telling me Nathaniel Wood. I can't go against him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Daniel Pineda, he had a good run in the PFL. But the reason he had a good run was because he was not a clean fighter. This guy was on some serious steroids. He would knock guys out left and right. He was a complete menace in there. But you take this guy off the sauce, you put him in the UFC, not the same guy. He fought Herbert Burns. Herbert Burns is historically a guy with a horrible gas tank, so of course he beat that guy. But you put him in there with Andre Philly, with Alex Caceres, those guys really beat him up on the feet. And Nathaniel Wood, he used to be a bantamweight. Now he's up at featherweight because that weight cut was hellacious. And he enjoys a speed advantage over a lot of these guys. And sure, he did get outmuscled at times against Naimov, but I still like the fact that he's got that speed and he still has shown an ability to get some takedowns in these fights. So he's just going to have to wait for Pineda to get a little tired in this fight because Pineda, say what you will, but he still is good early in the fight, but it's when he tires out and has some doubts that he starts to fall apart. And Nathaniel Wood is very technical. Pineda, not so much. So he's going to be looking to counter those wild punches, and he's just going to outclass him wherever the fight goes later on. He's going to win the decision, and he's going to make it look quite easy, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Nathaniel Wood, absolutely fantastic. The prospect, by name, by nature. Looking forward to this one. He's had a lot of fights as our DSC now. He's grew up, so 7-3. I feel like he's going to have a good performance this weekend. Next one, Molly McCann, moved down to 115 pounds in her last fight, and she looked a little bit rejuvenated. I feel like this maybe possibly could have been the weight class that she should have been at the whole time. She makes it 1-0 against Diana Belbrita. She got the armbar. She showed a little bit of her grappling, a little bit of evolution, a little bit of that she's maybe starting to pay attention to the grappling. Maybe she's fell in love with a little bit of it. She takes on Bruno Brazil, who is a Brazilian. She is looking to get a win after she was off the back of a Luma Luke Brule loss. The question is, does she get the victory? And if you look at Brazil, I wouldn't say she is the best grappler in the world. And I feel like if you look at the matchup against Molly McCann, this is good and plays into her favor. So that's why I choose Molly McCann. I think if Molly McCann comes up against a pure grappler who just knows grappling day in, day out, I feel like she might lose. But against Brina Brazil, I think she'll have confidence and maybe even utilize her grappling that she's been working on. Maybe even get a submission victory to prove us all wrong again.
Yeah, I think so as well. Bruno Brazil actually trains with the fighting nerds who have developed a huge reputation in MMA. The likes of Caio Borraio, John Silva, Mauricio Hufi, a lot of dangerous fighters. I think Bruno Brazil, unfortunately, is at the bottom of the food chain there. I don't think her skill set is very advanced, unfortunately. She had a great head kick knockout on Contender Series, but after that, it's been a really shaky road. She had a very close fight with Shauna Bannon. She got knocked out when she fought Denise Gomes. And here's the thing, Molly McCann, a lot of people like to dump on her for losses at flyweight. That wasn't even a real weight class. Now she's at a real weight class. And she fought Diana Belbita, and she looked spectacular out there. She was able to get a takedown easily and then get a quick armbar out there. So that shows that she's working on her game. She has a hunger to improve. I would say she has more hunger than Patty Pimlet at this stage of the game because Patty Pimlet's got a boatload of money. I don't think Molly has quite as much. Bruno Brazil, I think, will get taken down quite easily in this fight. And also on the feet, we've seen Molly McCann get very emotional in these fights. She hears the roar of the crowd and she just swings for the fences. And I think she's going to get a knockout in round 2 of this fight. We saw Bruno Brazil get knocked out in the UFC before. I think Molly McCann has the pop in those punches to get the job done. And I think that's why the UFC liked this fight, because Molly McCann getting a highlight always creates a big moment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Molly McCann looking to, make it 2 back-to-back wins, 115 pounds. I agree. Molly McCann to get the victory. Next one at 135 pounds is a fantastic one. It was meant to be Carlin Rockman versus Roman Tavares, but now we got a short notice replacement. Jake Hagley steps in. For the British fans, for the domestic fans in the UK, this is a fantastic one. We've got Ireland versus England. Kaelin obviously trading out of Team Cabon in Liverpool. Jake Hadley from Birmingham. This is a phenomenal matchup. I'm looking forward to it. An even better matchup, and I love the taste of it. I'm looking forward to this one even more so than the originally scheduled bout. Enough said. Kaelin is a massive 135 pound. If you look at his size, he's very stocky. He's very, very stocky. He's got a lot of muscles on the lad. Um, if you look at Jake Hadley, obviously 125 pounder, and I feel like the weight difference and the weight differential is going to be a little bit too much for Jake Hadley to overcome. He's on a 2-fight losing streak against Charles Johnson and Cody Durden. This is a big one for him, a must win. I feel like the only way Jake Hadley can win this fight if he gets the fight to the ground and submit him, and that's where I feel like the size and the muscles of Conor Loughran is just going to play a factor, and I do believe he'll be able to get out of them position just using his strength advantage that he will have over Jake Hadley. I see a decision victory for Caelan Loughran. I think he gets the job done on the feet as well. He's very slick, very powerful, so look out for that. I think Caelan gets the job done. 3-round decision, unanimous.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I think this is a mistake for Jake Hadley. It's pretty obvious that he did not have much intention to move up to bantamweight. He just saw that there's an opportunity to get on this in front of this crowd in England, and he took it. But this is not that winnable of a fight for him because he didn't have the time to bulk up a little bit for bantamweight. He actually does have a bit of a bantamweight frame. He's not that undersized. He's 5'7", and he fights long. But Caelan Loughran is built like a little tank, man. This guy has a lot of power, and he's got excellent cardio. In his last fight against his opponent, he was able to put up 144 significant strikes in a 15-minute fight. So he really likes to put the pace on his opponents. We've seen him get knockouts in the Cage Warriors circuit. So we could see a knockout here because we did see Jake Hadley get hurt in some of his fights. I just think Jake Hadley likes to get these takedowns and do what he can on the ground, but I just think the takedown defense is going to hold up for Caelan Loughran, and he's going to win a unanimous decision in this fight by outboxing Jake Hadley quite easily.
Yeah, I completely agree. Looking forward to that one. It's always good to see Caelan back in the octagon. Very entertaining, good on the mic. So yeah, some fantastic stuff. Looking forward to that one. Next one at 205 pounds, we've got Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachnio. Modestas Bukauskas, I've got to say, I love him. An absolutely great human being. His story, obviously getting released from the UFC after a massive knee injury, coming back to the UFC, going on that little run that he had against Tyson Pedro on short notice, by the way. He's the short notice he fight against Tyson Pedro and won. Then he fought Zach Palga, he won. And then he fought Vitor Petrino. He got knocked out. And I feel like that's the problem we have with Modestas is if he gets clipped, there's always an opportunity that he could get knocked out. And you just got to look at the man that he's coming up against, who's opposite him. Is he able to knock him out? And I think not. I think Modestas will be able to withstand in this fight. And I feel like he picks him apart using his long-rangey kicks that he loves. Side kicks to the body, side kicks to the legs. He's very long, he's very rangy, and he likes to pick his shots. I think Modestas wins. The only way I feel like Marcin Prachnio wins if he just lands that one big bomb. But you never know. Modestas has been clipped multiple times before.
Yeah, Modestas, I think this is a really good fight for him to bounce back because Marcin Prachnio had this really bad reputation early in his UFC career of being a fighter with no durability whatsoever. Sam Alvey knocked him out. Mike Rodriguez knocked him out. Magomed Ankalaev knocked him out. A lot of these guys, as soon as they were able to hurt him, they clipped him as well. So I got a feeling that he's even less durable than Modestas. Modestas, he had a very tough first UFC run, but he earned his way back with 2 victories in Cage Warriors, was able to get that light heavyweight title around his waist. But Marcin Prachnio, he's been enjoying the fact that he's not fought that great of a fighter recently, and he can just stay on the outside and go into the pocket whenever he pleases. But he's fighting Modestas, who has a 4-inch reach advantage over him. So I got a feeling it's going to be a little harder for him to stay at range like he usually does. So I think whenever he comes into the pocket, he's going to get clipped by these big shots. But he's shown an ability to survive even if he gets hurt as of late. So I think he survives to a decision. But I think Modestus clearly wins this one by doing more damage on the feet.
Absolutely agree. Looking forward to this. Modestus Bukalka's a fantastic story, a good human being. I'm wishing him all the best. I hope he gets the job done. Some fantastic stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Next one as well, Oban Elliott. One of the greatest people on the mic. Absolutely loves it. He's Welsh. He takes on Preston Parsons in his second fight inside the UFC. Obviously, 1-0 inside the UFC. Off the back of his Contender Series fight, he won that one. And then he fought Val Woodburn. He won that one. Now he takes on Preston Parsons. His only loss does come to Manos Flamines. Manos Flamines, great veteran, fought in the Cage Warriors scene, and I believe he's currently in KSW. So that one, a tough one to take, but he's in the UFC now. He takes on Preston Parsons, who's off a win against Matthew Semmelsberger. A big one for both men. Obviously, Oban Elliott won't want to lose this one. Sort of on home soil, sort of not. So a big one for Oban Elliott. Preston Parsons needs this one to get back to winning ways. A tough one to call. I'm probably going with Oban Elliott by a slight chance.
Yeah, I think this is a close fight because both guys are grapplers, and I wouldn't say that they're like power punchers. So I think on the feet it's going to be quite even, but Preston Parsons, I think, is the better wrestler. Oban Elliott has struggled to finish his opponents as of late, as he's gone up in competition. When he took on Val Woodburn, he was put in serious danger on the feet. I didn't like to see that. He was just desperately wrestling. Same thing on Contender Series against Kike Brito. He really was desperately getting these takedowns. I got a feeling that Preston Parsons is physically stronger, and I think he's going to get more control time on the ground. I'm not sure how exciting this will be. If both guys are both trying to grapple here, but from what I've seen, Preston Parsons is a little more proven when it comes to wrestling. So I'm going to take him to win this by decision.
Yeah, tough one to call. I'm hoping, obviously, Oban gets it done. And Dana White did confirm in the pre-fight press conference that's happening right now that the winner of Blades Aspinall 2 will fight the winner of Stipe versus Jones. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
It's a little difficult, the situation there, because John is making it look like he might retire afterwards, and Stipe already has 1 foot in the fire department over in Ohio. So who knows? Yeah. But in a perfect world, that would be the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping who wins between Jones or Stipe, most likely Jones. I do feel like Jones would honor Tom Aspinall if he does win. So definitely feel like that definitely could be the opportunity for Tom Aspinall if he does win this weekend. Next one, 125 pounds though, is Mohamed Merkiev versus Manel Cap. This one is an absolute banger. When Manel Cap came over from Ryzen, I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic signing. But I've got to say, I feel like other than a few fights inside the UFC, I haven't been too impressed as of yet. I feel like still a lot of opportunity to grow. A lot of fights where they've been cancelled. Maybe it's his fault. Maybe it's not his fault. And it's been hard to see him inside the octagon very regular. Now he takes on Mohamed Merkiev, and I feel like the UFC have put him up against an 11-0 prospect in a fight which I feel like could go either way. I feel like Mohamed Merkiev is probably a huge favourite or maybe it's a slight favourite according to Tabology. He's 11-0, but what I've seen from Mohamed Merkiev, his grappling is absolutely fantastic. He's very dominant. He likes to get the submission victories. But we've also seen in the past, sometimes he do make some fights a little bit hard, and we've seen him in trouble. Could that be the case again this weekend, Oscar? Do we see Mohamed getting a little bit of trouble, getting a little bit of bother, and potentially losing the fight?
I think this is a really unfavorable fight for him in a way, because Manel Cap has shown that he really is championship level before. He was the champion over in Ryzen, got a win over Kaya Sakura back in the day. They went 1-1. Maybe we'll see a trilogy in the UFC down the road. But Manel Cap is such a good striker. He's shown many times. It's all about, does he pull the trigger? Because early on in the UFC run, that's what cost him. He fought the champion right now, Alexandre Pantoja, in his debut, and I felt that he was not aggressive enough in that fight. And then he follows it up with a loss to Mateus Nicolau in a fight where I thought he should have won, but the fact that he was not pushing the pace really hurt him there. But since then, he's looked awesome. He knocks out Odi Osborne with a flying knee, knocks out David Dvorak, Shalga Zhumagulov, beats Felipe dos Santos. And he's had to face some adversity here and there, but Makayev, the big knock on him, I believe, is sometimes he just doesn't do much damage. You look at some of these fights, the Malcolm Gordon fight, the Tim Elliott fight. He's actually down on the scorecards before he gets the finish in round 3. He's kind of a guy that's all about the control, and some judges don't really care for the control. They want to see damage, and Manel Cap will be the guy doing damage in this fight. So I think Manel Cap wins a split decision in this fight. He will get taken down. There's no doubt about it, but it's all about how much can Makayev hold him down before Cop gets up and starts landing these big bombs on the feet. So Makayev, I know he will be a very top tier fighter later on. He's only 11-0 right now, still early 20s, but I'm not sure that time is now. I feel like the Alex Perez fight was very close. That was the fight where he kept on getting takedowns, but really didn't do any damage. And also the Tim Elliott fight, same deal. So I think unless he choked out Manel Cap later in the fight, I just think Manel Cap will be outscoring him on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, definitely close one to call. I'm going to go with Mohammed just to make things interesting. I think he, potentially can get the job done, but a tough fight against Manel Cap. As I mentioned, when he came in from Ryzen, I was looking forward to it. Obviously, a Ryzen champion knocked out Kai Azakura, so he's got some ability. 100%. So looking forward to that one. Next one, 170 pounds, Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. And this one has all the meanings to be an absolute wild fight because of Kiefer Crosby. We know what he wants. He's a brawler. He likes to get inside. He likes to throw the bombs. Hit his opponent and take one to give one. That's what Dana White said. That's a perfect way to detail Kiefer Crosby. He's a man that is not afraid of a fist fight. But the problem is, he's coming up against Sam Patterson, who is the taller man. He's got the bigger reach. He's got the better reach. And that's where I feel like he's going to pay dividends on the night. I feel like Kiefer Crosby will come into strike and he's going to be well out of range. Sam Patterson uses his reach and clips him early and gets the submission victory. I think we're going to see a club sub in the way of Sam Patterson. I think the reach is just going to be too favorable for Sam Patterson. He uses it very, very well. So look forward to that. I think Sam Patterson gets the job done. A club and sub victory for the Brit.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Sam Patterson has a clear advantage when it comes to grappling here. Kiefer Crosby is your classic Irish brawler. He loves to get into the pocket and swing for the fences, but we've seen that he's got serious limitations on the ground. When he fought Kevin Chusey in his UFC debut, he was taken down and choked out quite easily. And there's a reason for me to believe that Sam Patterson could do the exact same thing, because that's what happened in his last fight when he fought. The name slipping me. It was a Canadian fighter that he was able to take down and choke out quite easily. And this is a very similar matchup. UFC is trying to build up Sam Patterson.
Johan Linus, yeah.
Yeah, Johan Linus. Yes, he was able to do that to him. Sam Patterson, it is concerning that he keeps his chain up very high. He's got that tall man syndrome. But Kiefer Crosby, I'm not sure he's the guy to do it. I think Sam Patterson takes him down, gets a rear naked choke in round 1 quite easily, and continues this winning streak.
Absolutely agree. Next one, heavyweight, we've got Mick Parkin versus Lucas Brzezicki. I talked to Mick Parkin about this fight. I feel like this is going into his favor. I feel like Mick Parkin is a fantastic prospect, but I feel like what we've not seen a lot from him just yet. I feel like the fights he's had, he's won them. Obviously, he won that one against Muhammad Usman. Muhammad Usman was a fantastic victory, I believe, for him. Kyle Machado, big win, and Jamal Piggs, another big win. But he's been lacking that finish into the regional scene on the Contender Series. He was finishing everybody. He was 6-0, and he had a lot of finishes on his record, I believe, all by finish. But since he's got inside the UFC, he's just not got over the line yet. He's not got that finish over the line. But he has looked comfortable in his 3 wins inside the UFC. He's looked comfortable. He's got the job done. And I feel like he gets the job done again against Brzezicki. It's just whether he gets a finish. And if you look at Brzezicki's 4 losses, one by knockout, and that was against Wilder Acosta Jr., another one by knockout when he was 3-0. So potentially a finish could be on the horizon for Mick Parkin, and that's what he needs, a big statement. And I believe he gets it.
I really think that Lucas Bresky is not that high level. We've seen it many times where he's got a knock class both on the feet and on the ground. When he fought Carl Williams was taking him down very easily. When he fought Cortez Acosta, he basically murdered him on the feet in round 1. That was a brutal knockout loss that he suffered. You're right that Mick Parkin has not shown that great finishing ability in the UFC. It's because he's fought harder competition, in my opinion. When he fought Kai Machado is a black belt in Muay Thai, so it was a challenge for him on the feet. So he had to wrestle in that fight. So that's why that one went to decision. And then he took on Muhammad Usman. Muhammad Usman is not that great, I'll be honest. So I don't know what happened there, but he was able to outpace him. He showed off that he does have better cardio than a lot of these heavyweights. I think he has better cardio than Lucas Bresky. So I think if we were to see a finish, it would be in round 3 when Bresky's real tired. But I still think he's going to win a decision here, and he's going to make it look very dominant here. I think he can take him down and dominate, or he can box with him and dominate. Either way, I think he looks great out there, continues to improve. He's 9-0 right now. He's going to be 10-0 after this, and he's still in his 20s, which for a heavyweight is nothing. These guys don't even come into their own until they're in their mid-30s. So Mick Parkin has got a long way to go, in my opinion, and I say that with great compliments. He's a guy to watch out for later on.
Yeah, fantastic fighter. Very local to me in Sunderland. I'm from Newcastle, so not that far down the road for me. So, and I do a lot of stuff for the gym as well that he fights out of TFT MMA. So, a bit of a good one to watch for me for myself. So I'm happy it's early. Because I'll definitely be up for that one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Obviously, I want my man Mick Parkin to get it done. I see him all the time at the gym. He's looking fresh. He's looking prepared, and he has fantastic training partners. Phil DeFries, KSW heavyweight champion, on a fantastic run right now over there in KSW. And obviously, he's Tom Aspinall training partner as well.
Aspinall.
So, yeah. So he's got some fantastic training partners. He will be very well prepared because he's got a coach that won't let him not be prepared. Andrew Fisher is a fantastic little coach. He has great wrestling, Andrew Fisher. So watch out for that the wall work and how he maneuvers there. So that's going to be some great stuff. I'm looking forward to it. But the first fight of the evening is Shana Bannon versus Alice Ardeline. That's what we're going for. This one, to me, to be honest, is probably a battle of 2 low-level 115-pounders. Shauna, she made her UFC debut at UFC London. I got the pleasure of watching that one live in the arena, and I got to be honest, I was not impressed. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think her performance was too great. She takes on Alice, who, if we look at her record as well, is not the greatest. 9-5 heading into this one. But if you look at her last few wins, a win just before getting inside the UFC, she beat a girl who was 0-3. I don't know. So this one, I'm going with Shauna. I think she gets the job done because I think Elise is just worse than her. I think she's just worse than her.
Yeah, some of these fighters have no shame. They'll fight anybody, no matter how bad they are. And I think it kind of reflects on kind of what they're made of, in my opinion. Shauna Bannon, this is a fight for her to finally dominate in the UFC. Arlise Aldine, abysmal competition. Sure, she fought Zhang Wei Li 8 years ago, but we can just throw that right away. She obviously lost that one. Shauna Bannon is going to do work in this fight. She can get a takedown and succeed. She can outstrike her on the feet and succeed. Elise, she took this on short notice. There's really not much else to say. You're telling me a 9-5 fighter that took it on short notice is going to look any good? No, there's just no way. Shauna Bannon, the UFC has to get behind her. She's the first Irish woman in UFC history. They need to build up that Irish talent if they want to go back to Ireland and get that crowd going. So this is the bounce back fight for Shauna Bannon. She's going to win this by decision. Elise, if you want to know about her game, there's nothing that stands out to me. She can take down these opponents and smash them, but like these are basically nobodies that she's doing this to. So I have no idea how good it even is. So I have to take Shauna Bennett with great confidence. There's nobody else on the roster I would take her with great confidence, but you bring in a fighter that is this low level, you got to take Shauna Bennett.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at Shauna Bannon, she does have some decent wins outside the UFC. But when it's got inside the UFC, she doesn't look too great. I mean, in her amateur career, she beat a girl called Chanel Dyer. If you are from the UK and
PFL.
from Britain, you know who Chanel Dyer is. She's a fantastic prospect. Chanel Dyer is probably the hottest prospect at 115 pounds right now. She's ridiculous, 5-0, knocking girls out silly. So that's a good win for him. That was back in the amateur scene. Obviously, Chanel Dyer has grown a lot since then, but that's still a great win for her. Maybe they might meet again down the line one day. So some good stuff. I'm going with Shadow Bannon, as you mentioned there. Going to be a good one. Looking forward to it. Overall, the card is fantastic, top to bottom. Some really, really great fights. Going to be a fantastic showcase for the Manchester fans and obviously for the UFC fans. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Oscar, one pick for your fight tonight.
Yeah, my pick for the fight of the night is actually going to be Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. Those are two very exciting strikers to watch, and there could be a scenario where we see the guys rock each other back and forth and really get into a fun scrap. So that's what I'm expecting to be a really fun fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one. We got some really fun fights, all top to bottom. My one is Sam Patson for Keith Crosby. I think this one could be a fantastic one. Could be fight tonight. If not that one, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez. Both have all the meanings to entertain the Manchester crowd and earn the bonus, which is 100,000 now. That news just came out recently. 100K on the line for these fighters. Life-changing money for few of the fighters anyway. Life-changing money. Leon Edwards, Tom Aspinall. It's just probably a little bit of pocket change for them as well. So, but yeah, not a good bonus nonetheless. So they'll be going for it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. What fight do you reckon is going under the radar? One that we should give a little bit of notice to.
Yeah, the fight that's going on under the radar for me was that RoboCop and CLD fight, but they put it on the main card, so you gotta love that. But obviously, I'm gonna have to go with Keelan Loughran versus Jake Hadley, just because we mentioned before both guys were champions in Cage Warriors. They're high level guys to look out for. And as I said before, with other guys on this card, they're still young, so they're gonna be better when they come out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. My pick would be probably Modestas Galkins, Marcin Pragnia. I feel like that could be a huge knockout. Either way, could be a good one. Could be a good highlight. Reel for either fighter. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up UFC 304 in Manchester. We've got Cage Warriors going on right now. I've got it on behind me. So if you've got something to watch before then, watch Cage Warriors. A decent little card in Manchester as well. Obviously, they're doing the double header to the UFC. We've also, if you're a boxing fan, we've also got Joe Joyce versus Derek Chisora on this weekend. So if you want something before the UFC, for the UK fans, you can watch that. A good little fight in the O2 Arena. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Oscar, mate, an absolute pleasure. Let's catch back up next week and talk about what happened at UFC 304.
Yeah, I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of talking points coming out of this card, a lot of major names on this card. And I got a feeling we'll learn just how good Tom Aspinall really is. Because, in my opinion, this is the hardest fight of his career so far. From the looks of it, sure, the Sergey Pavlovich fight, not an easy fight at all. But when you look at the grappling threat that Curtis Blades brings, I think we're going to learn a lot about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Obviously, next weekend, no UFC, I do believe. Actually, there is UFC. We got the Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov fight in Saudi Arabia.
Great card in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. I'm in North Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. But yeah, Cody Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Cross our fingers anyway, because every time they've tried to schedule this bout, it's never happened. I don't want to be the jinx anyway. We've got Sharon Magomedov Bullets against Michal Olszewski as well in the co-main event. And this card is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Marlon Vera Davison Figueiredo, Mackenzie Dern, Lupe Guedes, Tony Ferguson, Michael Chiesa.
Michael
I believe
Chiesa.
is that fight still
Yes.
on?
Still
Okay.
happening. Yes.
Yeah, we got some
Hopefully
fantastic
Tony
fights.
gets the darts choke in that one, because Michael Chiesa has struggled with darts chokes his whole career. All these guys get him with the darts choke. So we see a miracle happen. That would make my year, quite honestly.
And we was meant to have Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz, but never happened. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, what a shame. It's honestly sad what's going on with Nick Diaz. But from what I hear, that was a travel issue. Wasn't like an injury or anything, and they're going to try to rebook that. So hopefully Nick Diaz is actually training this time and wants to be there somewhat.
Yeah. So make sure you catch us next week for one of the best fight nights that we've had in recent times. Obviously, that's the first one in our. The first one. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I thought it was the Saudi Arabia card, the Kingdom. It's not. So excuse me. I'm not very good. But yeah, make sure you
It's
catch
the
us
first
next week.
Abu Dhabi event of the year. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So make sure you catch us next week for the first one in Abu Dhabi. Fantastic little fight night. One of the best fight nights we've had in recent times. So make sure you catch us there. Thank you very much. A very good bye. Enjoy UFC 304 in Manchester this weekend. And the American fans, enjoy watching it primetime TV because it's away from us, you idiots.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. When you get the prime time card, you guys are going to be really hungover by the time Aspinall is fighting Curtis Blades.
Yeah, it's going to be stupid, but here we are. It's the business that we're in, unfortunately, is what it is. So the arena will be packed out. It's going to be sold out. Nonetheless, it won't stop the fans coming in. So it is what it is. We'll moan about it for the first 5 minutes, but immediately we'll forget about it and we'll buy the tickets anyway. So the UFC know that's the case. So here we are. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you catch us next week for UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov. Gonna be a good one. See you all then. Thank you very much. Very goodbye.